If you were alive during the mid to late 80s, there was no way you could avoid the classic science fiction action film Robocop. Part man, part machine, all cop. But with the new Robocop game recently releasing called Rogue City, the question I had was, should we part with our money and cop this game for the low price of $49.99? One word comes to mind.
Yes.
Robocop is one of the most faithful adaptations that I think I've seen in a long time. From the crime-ridden streets of Detroit to the drug-infested warehouses and quarries, this game has stayed faithful to the source material, and in 2023, this is something to give a lot of credit for. The part of the game I love the most is their environment design. When you're walking through these levels, they're relatively simple and linear in their design, but the amount of props that are placed everywhere, lending to that clutter and downright run-down nature of Detroit in this world is so damn impressive to me. Like, I live for this shit. And with the contrasting lighting going from dark and dingy alleys into an apartment that has a little bit of light and then going into a room that has purple and blue lights, it all just comes together very well to hit that late 80s grounded sci-fi vibe. In reality, a lot of these props are used in such smart ways. The lights from the arcade are also prominent in this apartment room that you're investigating. It doesn't make sense from a technical standpoint. Why does an apartment have random neon signage everywhere? But it doesn't matter, because it looks and feels great to the player for the few seconds that you're in there. These are the details that take a team from indie to AA status, in my opinion, and that's what this game is. It is a AA production. The small attention to detail, but also knowing when not to get lost in the technicalities. Like, why is there a toilet in the hallway? Who cares? It just adds to the flavor of this rundown building. Seeing all of the graffiti and the texture work to make walls more worn and weathered, or even the rebar work on broken concrete, it's all very fucking impressive from an artistic standpoint. Not a lot of games impress me with their environments because most developers don't give a shit. Compare this to the likes of Call of Duty, a game made by a few billion-dollar studios, and granted, I understand they're different games, but you would see that the environment team at Teon, who developed this game, are some of the best in the business. And this is coming from somebody who wasn't a fan of Terminator Resistance, which was their previous title. If you can't tell, I've been geeking out over the environments in this game the entire way through so far, and I wanted to front load the video with just giving my admiration to the team for making this happen. It's a very good looking game, utilizing Unreal Engine 5 to get the job done. I'll also say this, it's one of the most optimized Unreal Engine 5 games that I've played to this day. Speaking of playing, the gameplay is a pretty standard shoot 'em up that gives me vibes of the old school FPS games that I played growing up. There's not a lot of flashy animations for reloading and ADSing. It's all pretty standard. I'd even say a bit below what I expect out of a $49 release these days, but it's stylized in a way that stays true to the movies, and when you actually look up the game, this was apparently one of the hardest challenges for the developers to get right. They wanted Robocop to remain true to the movies, where he is slow and heavy, but they don't want to make him a tank, so they had to balance that with healing items and different ways to regen your health. You're a Robocop. It's not like you do anything really flashy, except for this, I guess. Which has actually been animated and put into the game when you use your pistol. But realistically, Robocop entered a room, held his gun at the side, and just blasted guys away. It's all this game needs. It makes up for the lacking gunplay with varied enemies like snipers, grenadiers equipped with grenade launchers, and mobile units that literally ride bikes around as they fire SMGs towards you. I love that you can just pick up a whole ass Harley and whip it into someone though. That's amazing. But not everything is okay in Detroit Rock City though. The game features primary and side quests for you to do, but the side quests consist of pretty meaningless busy work like answering people's complaints at a police station, going around to get everyone to sign a get well card, grabbing a towel for someone in the shower, and oh yeah, going to the firing range multiple fucking times in the first half of the game to calibrate people's weapons. I'm being serious. All of these were quests that Robocop was asked to do. To me, it's the equivalent of getting my hero of Azeroth, who defeated Arthas, Deathwing, and the Jailer, to go put tiny hats on sleeping elves in the Emerald Dream. If you're a WoW fan, you know how stupid these little fetch quests slash filler quests are, but they serve a greater purpose in that game overall. But in Robocop, the only purpose is to pad the game time to make you feel like you're getting a worthy title for $49.99. These quests fucking suck. What doesn't suck are the side quests that turn into multi-stage quests, like investigating a murder of a prostitute where you're searching for clues and then asking civilians around who might have witnessed the crime, which leads you down a rabbit hole of whodunits and thus coming to the final conclusion that she was taken into the back of a garage and murdered with a hammer. These quests are fucking awesome because they require you to actually investigate, use your scanner's deduction skills to do the job. I wish that if a sequel ever does happen, those quests get fleshed out and put even more emphasis on your skill trees to do certain quests. Yes, there is a full skill system in the game, although I reckon most people will up their combat, armor, and vitality over anything else. You can upgrade things like deduction and engineering, which help you find clues easier or get into locked safes around the map, but most of it is tertiary to the main gameplay loops of asking somebody what's going on, shooting a shit ton of bad guys, saving someone or escorting someone away, and then completing the quest. You can tell that there's a lot of filler here, and while I respect the idea of trying to give you more time for your dollar, this is the exact reason why I hate equating games to a dollar per hour basis. I would be perfectly fine spending $49 on a game that tells a story from start to finish and doesn't slog you around showers looking for towels and can wrap it up in 6 to 8 hours. Because when you are on the main quest lines, which I don't want to spoil for you here, you feel like a fucking badass, breaching walls, grabbing turrets, and hand-bombing dudes off of rails. It's pretty fucking cool. And while it's been damn near 30 years since I've seen the original Robocop, this was a damn trip down memory lane to a time where media was all about having fun, telling stories, and kicking ass. This game doesn't need the flashiness because it makes up for it in a nice stylized world, pretty good voice acting, and a story that feels like it could have been a movie in and of itself. This game takes place between Robocop 2 and 3, which I'm ashamed to admit I've never seen. Maybe we should host like a movie night in Discord and watch them as a community. It features the return of Peter Weller, the only Robocop, who, by the way, okay, so I was born in '92 and I haven't seen the original Robocop since I was a kid. I didn't even realize that Charles Borofsky from Sons of Anarchy was the Robocop. I never made the connection in my mind until I started playing this game, so that's pretty cool. The game also has a cool system for upgrading your suit and chips. So you find these chips around stashes in the game that can be combined and merged to up your stats even further. This is a system that, while it's fleshed out, doesn't really have a lot of depth to it. I'd love to play a sequel where these systems are more thought out and deep to really customize that Robocop suit and abilities. And I've mentioned sequel a few times throughout this video because I am manifesting it into the world because I want to see more Robocop. It was just announced today from the publisher Nacom that this was their most successful launch game of all time. Earning 92% positive reviews on the Steam platform, the game had over 435,000 players in a span of 2 weeks and have racked up over 2.7 million active game sessions. For a title like this to be released from a dev team that hasn't really done much outside of Terminator Resistance, they have a long line of games for Windows and DS, but realistically, on this level of quality, this is like their second title and they fucking killed it. And even though the game is not perfect, I think that this is a shining example of what AA games can bring to the table to give you an alternative to the AAA bullshit that we have been seeing over the last, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years at this point. These are the kind of games that I want to champion on this channel. If you guys have played Robocop, let me know what you guys think down below. And while you're there, leave a like on the video and subscribe for more content just like this. Join the Discord for weekly movie nights and monthly game sessions, and become a member by hitting that join button down below. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you in Detroit.